That was just the bugle that we used to open the meetings with. Or the ram's horn, right? I want to call the June 22nd, 2017 Daviess County Fiscal Court meeting to order, please. If you would, bow and pray with me. Our Heavenly Father, we thank you for all the gifts that we receive from you. We ask that you watch over the men and women who serve in our armed forces, as well as all emergency responders. We also ask that during the last few days of this week, while romp is going on, that you watch over all those folks who are having a really good time out in Yellow Creek Park and mitigate the weather as best you can. I ask for wisdom and understanding for this court. Grant us humility in our everyday life and give us the courage to make right decisions for our Daviess County community. We ask all these things in your name. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Once again, I want to welcome everyone to our June 22nd, 2017 Daviess County Fiscal Court meeting. Here in a little bit, the treasurer will do a report, but I just want everyone to know I'm without a jacket because I had to sell it tonight to balance our budget this year.
I don't believe that.
Oh, okay. Jenny, are you ready?
Yes, sir. Item 1, consideration for presentation A, Amateur Radio Week, June 25 through July 1, 2017.
Whereas we fully realize and appreciate the importance of amateur radio operators and their contributions of providing communications to the community during an emergency, and whereas in the performance of duty they have demonstrated the highest skill and professional achievement and have completely and unselfishly dedicated themselves to the well-being of their community, and whereas it is deemed appropriate that county government express appreciation on behalf of all of its citizens, now therefore, I, Al Mattingly, Daviess County Judge Executive, do hereby proclaim June 25th through July 1st, 2017 as Amateur Radio Operators Week and call upon all of Daviess County citizens to show their sincere appreciation for amateur radio operators by deed, remark, and attitude. And here to accept this tonight is my dear really old friend, Bobby Spears. Bobby, if you want, you go to the podium and say thank you.
On behalf of the amateurs of Daviess County, I want to thank you, Judge, and the members of the Fiscal Court for presenting this. Starting this Saturday, we will be having our annual field day at Panther Creek Park, and thank you for letting us use the park. It's a very nice place, and the people out there, the park rangers and everything, are very overcoming to make sure we have everything we want and need. We work closely with the EMA office here to provide communication. Yes, they have redundant communications to get in touch with Frankfurt and the necessary places, but sometimes something may be wrong and it has to be spur of the moment, and we think we are capable of providing communications for them. And Andy will tell you the latest thing I'm on right now is WinLink. And what we can do with that, we got several around the state, from Princeton to Hallsville. And what you can do, you can take your radio and you jump into another radio in one of those cities and by digital, and you can get on the internet and send a message like a Form 213, ICS 213 or ARRO.
We don't allow that kind of language in our court.
Okay. But anyway, we are there to help the county, and especially you and the commissioners. If something happens, you don't have telephone service, we will try to get communications with you back to different places and everything. So again, we thank you, and hopefully we can.
Bobby, pass on to everybody, and particularly you, our great thanks for what you do.
Well, thank you very much, and thanks to the court.
Commissioners, anyone want to say anything?
I'll just say I've stopped in a couple times when they've had their, over the years with their, when they're having their event, and
yes,
it's these guys are serious about what they do. So thank you.
some feedback? There's
Yes.
a lot of feedback. Are you back there?
He's there.
Can you hear the feedback?
Not now.
Yeah, I can.
It up a little bit because it's turned volume up.
Like that?
Or
All right,
further.
we'll try it. We'll move
We'll
on.
sing a little tune and see if there's any feedback. you know.
Not by you, Commissioner.
Kind of a little test.
Jenny,
Yes, sir.
next item.
B Treasurer's Report for May 2017.
Mr. Hendricks.
Cash at May 31st is $29,100,449. The general fund is $12,522,351. Through 11 months of the fiscal year, all the finances are coming in within the expected range. I'm not aware of anything that the court is not aware of.
Commissioners, this is just a report by the treasurer. Any questions? Anyone in the public that might want to look at the report, it's on file in our office, right, Jenny?
Yes, sir.
Okay, next item.
Item 2, consideration for approval, A, minutes of the June 1st, 2017 court meeting.
Motion approved.
I have a motion and second. Commissioners, all of you have had a copy of the minutes in your possession for some time. Any additions, deletions, or corrections? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carries.
B, all claims for all departments.
Motion approved. Second.
I have a motion second. Again, Commissioners, you've had a copy of all the bills due and payable by Daviess County Fiscal Court in your possession for some time. Any questions of the treasurer? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carries.
C, fund transfers.
Make a motion. Second.
I have a motion second. Mr. Hendricks.
It's 2 fund transfers I request your permission to make. The first is $600,000 from the general fund to the bond fund for the convention center. That's $100,000 more than budgeted, but it reflects the amount of the receipts we had for that item. The second one is $500,000 from the general fund to the health insurance fund. As you recall, we did a budget amendment recently for $1 million. At that time, I told you I didn't expect to expend the entire $1 million. And with only one more week of billing for that, it looks like we will spend only $500,000 more than budgeted because of some bad claims. So I basically anticipate this $500,000 to be a cash beginning balance for the new year. We won't spend this $500,000.
Question or comment? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
D, budget transfers for fiscal year ending June 30, 2017.
Motion approved.
Second.
I have a motion and second. We're coming upon the last of these. I think we have one more meeting next week to finalize. Mr. Hendricks, tell us what we're doing.
Again, this is an exercise we do annually. We are not allowed to have an expense line that exceeds a budget line. We can't exceed every line because the budget would be absurd. So what we have to do at this time of year is look at the lines that are over actual, or the actual is over budget, and move those around because there's a lot of items that are under budget. And so this exercise, the important note is that it does not increase your budget. The budget stays the same. I just have to move money around so that no line has a negative variance. There's not as many as there was last time, and there'll be very few at the last meeting. I do request permission, though, to move $137,901 in the general fund, road fund $94,100, jail fund $9,700, solid waste operating fund $107,700, transfers out $600,000. Again, I've reviewed them all. They're either authorized by the court, they're either offset by a revenue or a grant, or they are offset by a decrease to a corresponding expense account. They're all in order. I request your approval.
Question or comment, Commissioners? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carries.
E, 2017-18 roadway resurfacing list.
Motion
Move
approved.
to approve.
I have a motion and second. Commissioners, I think all of you had an opportunity to look at this and give comment to the engineer. Mr. Engineer, you want to go over it and probably read the roads and the mileage that we're going to do?
I can. This is the 2017-2018 Daviess County Public Works recommended list for resurfacing next fiscal year. East District, Indian Hill Road from Drury Road to the county line for a length of .909 miles. Drury Road from Indian Hill Road to the county line for a length of 1.610 miles. Phelps Road from Indian Hill Road to the county line for 0.284 miles. Jones Road from Kentucky 144 to Reed Road for a length of 1.404 miles. George Madison Drive from East 8th Street to Pleasant Valley Road for a length of 0.118 miles. Foster Road from Southampton Road to Pleasant Valley Road for a length of 1.564 miles. Pleasant Valley Road from Southampton Road to Kentucky 144 for a length of 1.799 miles. That gives a total for the East District of 7.688 miles.
Mark, while I'm thinking, first of all, Commissioner Koger, you okay with those?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Reed Road up near the Hancock County line, wasn't that the name of that road that we agreed to pay a portion, or we're gonna have, Hancock County's gonna do the paving and just bill us back?
That is correct.
Have they done that yet?
I have not heard back from them. I told them that our interest, when I talked to the road supervisor in Hancock County, they were still working out details on their side.
Okay.
I've given them, or I've asked them to let us know when they make a final decision.
Okay, would you check, they should have made that decision by the 1st of July when their budget is set.
Yes. I'll check with them and let
Find
you
out
know.
and let me know, because I know Judge McCaslin will probably be asking me the result. Next item, the Central District.
Central District, we are recommending resurfacing Browns Valley Red Hill Road from East Marksbury Road to Red Hill Maxwell Road for a length of 2.790 miles. That's the only recommended for Central District.
Commissioner Caslin, are you okay with that?
Excuse me, I am.
Do you have any idea what you did to the engineer to be so on the short list this year?
Well, if you look at the maps of the three districts, it's easy to see why the central has a shorter list.
Okay, when your constituents start calling you, you tell them that same thing and see what happens. Next item, or go ahead, Mark.
West District, Newman Stillhouse Road from Owensboro Reed Road to the county line for a distance of 0.339 miles. Old Highway 81 North from Kentucky 81 South to Kentucky 81 North for a distance of 0.442 miles. Owensboro Reed Road from US 60 to the county line for a length of 0.292 miles. Sire Lane from Innovative Way to the county line for a distance of 0.966 miles. Griffith Station Road from Lower River Road to Willett Road for a distance of 1.593 miles. Windy Hollow Road from box number 4325 to Lonesome Pine Trail for a distance of 2.5 miles. Jack Bosley Road from Kentucky 279 to where the asphalt section begins for a distance of 0.554 miles. That gives a total for the West District of 6.686 miles. That gives a total for Daviess County currently 17.164 miles.
Commissioner Watson, are you okay?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
I have a question on
Yes,
that
sir.
flex money. Do they have to approve this list does the state have to approve this list for the flex money?
If the court approves this list tonight, I will send in our recommendations to Frankfurt tomorrow. They do review it. They check, make sure all the numbers match up to what funding we've got available. And then they send a contract to the county for us to sign, and then we pave and they reimburse us.
Okay.
Mark, last year we paved 45 miles. Prior year, 2 years, probably 30, 35 miles. We're only doing about 17 miles, but I think the reason is we've got all of our roads in really great shape, and we don't just pave roads, as I think Commissioner Watson said one time, we don't pave them unless they need them.
Mm-hmm.
And we had a relatively mild winter, if not just a really mild winter this past year. So this is not to say that if we had an issue that we couldn't get some more money, just like we did last year, and put additional money in it, but I think we're in really great shape.
This puts us on a more normal pace for
Yeah.
resurfacing.
I wonder if it's not time, and Commissioner Wathen and I talked about it, to start looking at some of the county roads. And I know former Commissioner Lambert talked about it. Perhaps start looking at some of our county roads that have no shoulders and start doing some shoulder work. Why don't you look at a road in the east, west, and central that might benefit by spending some money on putting in shoulders? And the fact that you look at it and bring it back to us doesn't necessarily mean we'll do it. We'll do it as funds are available and as road department personnel are available. But don't you, George, don't you think maybe it's time that we start looking at it?
I agree, but one of the things too, it doesn't have to be an all or none. In other words,
Right.
you might identify a small section of a road that needs shoulders, and then the rest of it doesn't need shoulders, just depending on the circumstances.
Sure, be glad to.
I know we've got some really narrow roads where the lack of shoulder has caused some accidents recently, don't we, Commissioner?
We do.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, we were out looking at one of those roads and almost had an accident.
That is true.
All right. Any other question or comment? Question or comment by the public? There being none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
F, MOA with the Daviess County Coroner and Region 3 Healthcare Preparedness Coalition to purchase an 18-person refrigerated morgue trailer.
Move to approve.
Second?
I have a motion and second. Commissioners, the coroner's not here this evening. Back during the budget session, Coroner Jones came to my office and talked about the possibility of getting a grant to pay a portion of this. As a matter of fact, the grant was for $10,000. Those monies came from the Kentucky Department of Public Health to purchase a mortuary, a refrigerated mortuary trailer with a capacity to hold the remains of 18 folks. And, you know, locally, the hospital, I think, had 5 or 6 spaces. Several of the funeral homes have space. But if we ever had, and Lord knows that we don't want, and we pray that it never happens in our community or the Commonwealth, but we would by purchasing this trailer, we would have the capacity to hold those human remains either until an investigation was done or their next of kin was notified. In order to do this, we have a memorandum of agreement that I would sign on behalf of Fiscal Court that says Daviess County will have first call on the trailer. But if we're not using it, the next folks that would have the ability to use it would be those counties in our grad region, the other 6 grad counties. And after that, if they weren't using it, it could be transferred out into the state. Meaning, as an example, I don't know how many of you are old enough to remember the Beverly Hills Supper Club fire, but there were several hundred people killed in that fire, and they were scrambling to deal with those remains. I remember a terrible bus tragedy there on Interstate 71 between Louisville and Cincinnati, where there were quite a few young folks' lives were taken. So it just makes good sense, I think, on behalf of the coroner and in conjunction with Fiscal Court, that we plan for those things, hoping that it never happens. So any question or comment?
Where are we going to store this thing?
Hospital? That was my understanding.
I was looking at, I never did.
Either hospital or hospital is my understanding. Any other question? There being none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carries.
G, agreement with AEI relating to the reconstruction of a Yellow Creek Pedestrian Bridge.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Mark, do you want to talk to us about this?
Yes, sir. A couple years ago, we had a engineering firm come in and look at the pedestrian bridges at Yellow Creek Park. There are 3 of them. They looked at those bridges and determined that all 3 of them need to be replaced. One in worse condition than the rest. It was replaced, I believe, early last year. This is the second bridge. This is the wooden bridge closer to the parking lot within Yellow Creek Park.
Just over the iron bridge.
Just over the iron bridge. This contract, if you look at it, this is for the design of it. It has two parts. We believe we can come back with a very similar bridge that we did last year. If so, the cost will be relatively cheaper at $13,500. If they have to come in and do a complete redesign, the cost will be $18,000. I recommend approval.
Which do you think it will be?
I would like to think it's the 13.5. The bridge is the channel's a little bit wider at this location, but I think it's due to other reasons than water capacity.
Commissioner Watson and I were out there this morning looking, and that's a nice looking bridge with the wrought iron railings and all that. I think they did a good job. Question or comment by the commission? Question or comment by the public? There being none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
H, MOU with the Administrative Office of the Courts to accommodate family court.
Move to approve.
Second.
I have a motion second. I am not sure, Jordan, is this you? Or Claude, is this you? Is it Jordan? Go ahead, Jordan.
This memorandum of understanding simply outlines the obligations and responsibilities of the county, AOC, their architect, and others involved in the family court renovation project. The county engineer, the county attorney, and I have reviewed this document. Everything is in order and acceptable with no changes to what we had originally anticipated. I recommend approval.
Question or comment? Jordan, didn't we have a pre-bid?
We did.
On this Monday, Tuesday, last week?
Wednesday, last Wednesday.
Okay. Many bidders show up?
We had 6 people show up and all seemed interested in pursuing a bid.
Okay. A couple local contractors?
2 local.
Okay. Any other question or comment? There being none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
I, annual contract with MMLK Government Solutions.
Motion approved.
Second.
I have a motion second. Commissioners, as you're aware, we have had a contract, an annual contract with MMLK to lobby on our behalf in Frankfurt, I think since 7 years now. They do an excellent job. I don't believe this contract has increased this year at all. It's the same cost. I know a local boy, James Higdon, is our lobbyist there. And Jimmy has done an excellent job getting us in to see the folks in the various departments that we need to see, as well as keeping us abreast of the various things that might affect our county. The latest of which, David, what was solid waste? We just had
a change in the regulatory language regarding solid waste management plans and anti-litter programs. Without him being there, we would have had no knowledge and no input if there was anything that we didn't like. So I think it's a wise decision to invest the money. Any question or comment? There being none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
J, annual contract and business associate agreement with the Green River District Health Department to administer hepatitis B and rabies injections and TB skin tests.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
I have a motion second. Well, I knew we had some employees who were rabid on some days, and this just verifies that. Jim?
Yeah, so this is a agreement we enter into annually. It is the contract that sets the prices, and the prices are mostly the same. There is a $2 increase in the TB assessment. And the business associate agreement, that's just the agreement you exchange with health organizations so that you can handle the protected health information.
Okay.
So we've reviewed it, it's in order, and request approval.
Any question or comment, commissioners? Question or comment by the public? There being none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
K, order of allowance to the Board of Assessment Appeals.
Motion approved.
Second.
I have a motion and second. Mr. Hendricks.
This comes every year. This is the time of year where they do the appeals for the PVA assessments. The 4 individuals on this list will be paid at the rate of $100 per day. So a total of $400, and the state will reimburse us for 1/2 of that. It's in order again, a request approval.
Any question or comment? Question or comment by the public? There being none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
L, financial commitment letter, model deed restriction document, model statements of assurances for property acquisition projects and construction programs related to Windcrest Drive.
Make the motion to approve.
Second.
Have a motion second. We have Andy Ball, the EMA director. Andy, you want to tell us what we're doing?
Yes, Judge. There's 4 documents which FEMA requires signature for this to move forward. The first one, financial commitment letter, which shows our 13% local match, which will be about $146,401. $146,401. The in-kind, working with Mark Brasher and Alan, we come up with $109,662 is the in-kind, which will be materials, labor, and equipment. That'll be about 10% of our requirement. The remaining 3% will be about $36,739.
Commissioners, before we go forward, any question regarding this or these figures?
Sorry, Judge. The second one is the model deed restriction, and that's just to summarize. That's basically what we can and can't do in terms of the usage for the properties, the transfer requirements, and the 3-year requirement for inspection and reporting. This also, I want to note that this is a draft. It has to go with the package for FEMA approval, and eventually will come back to us when the dates are filled. Right now we don't know the dates, so it will have to be signed as a draft. So to make that clear.
Is this the deed restriction would be where it states what we may and may not use the property for?
Yes,
after
sir.
It's acquired.
And if you look on page 2,
right,
of that
uses.
1A, that's basically most of this page is what discusses that. Do you want me to go into detail?
Well, it just talks about parks for outdoor recreational activity. We won't. Wetland management, we could. Nature reserves probably wouldn't. Cultivation is probably the biggest use for it. Camping, I can't. It'd be like romp camping along Yellow Creek tonight after that rainstorm hits. I mean, it's just pretty much they don't want structures built there that they would have to buy out again at some future time.
Right there.
So I think it's wise that those be placed on. Now, this would come back to the court.
If the FEMA project is approved, then we'll have to re-sign it with the dates inserted.
Okay, but eventually the property would come to the court.
Yes, sir.
And then the court could make a determination whether it was going to keep it or sell it.
If we wanted to transfer it, we would have to send paperwork back up through the state to FEMA to get their approval.
Right, but once we got their approval, there wouldn't be any restriction as far as selling it. The only restriction would be on the deed and its use.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And that might be a way to get back the public's 13% or the portion that the public is going to invest in it.
Yes, sir, since there is farmland surrounding those properties.
Okay. Next one.
The next one is the first model statement of assurance. It's for project deed restriction. To summarize, it just lists that all owners, it's a voluntary participation, that we will not use eminent domain. We will assess them at fair market value. It establishes that all of them are citizens or legal aliens, that we will not perform new construction, that we have consulted with the Army Corps of Engineers and DOT. We will remove structures within 90 days of approval of the project, inspect every 3 years and report on that, and that we will no longer receive any disaster assistance in the future for this project once approved.
And those are all pretty, I mean, that's pretty standard. Particularly, I wanted to reiterate what you talked about. Participation is strictly voluntary.
Yes, sir.
There is no coercement, no eminent domain, nothing.
Correct, sir.
Okay. Next item.
The last one is the other assurance. It's pertaining to construction programs. And basically, it's all the compliance verbiage for federal, state, and local requirements. The timelines that we must meet, which includes the 90 days for the project work, and then establishes safeguards for employees.
Let's say that the court approves these 4 items this evening. I sign them tomorrow. From that time or that point forward, and I know you can't talk about FEMA or the Fed and how fast or how slow they move. What would be your best guess as to when we would start looking at?
The project deadline to get to FEMA is 25 August. Right now, it's still being held up at historical preservation.
Okay.
They keep asking them what the holdup is. They haven't given them a good answer. But it has to move forward to FEMA by 25 August. Okay. And she expects that it will. Once that's done, FEMA will look at it. We're looking at probably a December time frame of hearing something back from them.
So probably, if I had to guess, it'd be beginning of next summer, maybe, when we would
spring or summer, yes, sir.
Look at moving forward with it. Well, we've been waiting, what, Commissioner, 8 years. That'll be 8 years that we've been dealing with it, but at least we have a path forward for those folks. It's a way to get them out of what's really a terrible flooding situation down there. They can either accept it or they don't have to. They can stay there if that's what they wish. But I think it gives those who want to get out the opportunity to get out.
Yes, sir.
And I think, the best I remember, in the property valuation and looking at that property, fair market value, they don't take into account the flooding issue like if they were to put it up for
That's
sale.
correct, sir.
So it's like it didn't flood, so it will actually have a higher value, property value, than it would have if they were
Yes,
trying
sir.
to sell.
Yeah, we've used, right now, we've used the PVA assessments for the values.
Okay, Commissioners, any questions, comments? We're in the, are we coming around the bend, or are we in the home stretch?
For the rain?
No, don't even start me on that rain. That half inch you predicted this afternoon turned
if we can get past the state,
that much.
If we can get past the state, then we'll be in the home stretch.
Okay. And your best guess estimate? Seems to me that they were very interested in pursuing this with us.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Any other question or comment?
I just want to thank Andy for his work on this. I think it's a very good project, and I'm glad that we've had the success this far in moving forward with it.
Yes, sir.
It's, as the judge said, it's been a long time. We've worked on it a long time. So.
Yeah, if we can get them out of that area, it'll be better for everybody involved, I believe.
Right.
Any other comment? There being none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carries. Thank you, Andy.
Declare a landfill mobile home and Horse Fork Creek Park storage building as surplus.
Motion approved.
Second.
Have a motion second. Mr. Johnson.
Yes, Judge. When we purchased additional land around the West Davis County landfill, one tract came with a 2001 Cavalier mobile home. The county has found no immediate or long-term use for this item, especially given the expense quoted to relocate it. Additionally, we have a vacant metal storage building at Horse Fork Creek Park that has had limited to no use for quite some time. This building is directly in the path of planned drainage for the new spray park at this facility and will need to be moved. The county has no immediate or long-term use for this item, especially given the expense quoted to relocate it. I recommend approval.
Question or comment?
A question, Judge.
Yes, sir.
Excuse me. This metal storage building, should not be reclassified as a pole barn because the only metal is the outside and the roof. It is truly a pole barn.
Yes, it'll have to be taken apart and reconstructed as a pole barn, so yeah.
Good, thank you.
Any other question or comment? Question or comment by the public? There being none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
individually award the following bids. 1, 2017 bulk delivered fuels.
Motion approved.
Second.
Jordan.
Yes, Judge, the fiscal court received 4 bids for bulk delivered fuels. The majority of the county's most active fuel tanks are in the 751 to 1,000 and 1,501 to 5,000 gallon ranges. Unit rates have dropped an average of 9% from last year. All things considered, Valor Oil of Owensboro, Kentucky is the lowest and best evaluated bid, having no exceptions to our bid documentation. I recommend award.
Does the, these amounts, like the first column is 250 gallons, is that on what period of time?
I'm sorry?
I couldn't hear what you said on, like, for example, the 250 gallon. What period of time is that for?
That's actually the size of the tank.
Okay, so
we conduct this.
What size do we usually order this?
We are usually in the 751 to 1,000 gallon range, and our next highest volume of activity is in the 1,501 to 5,000 gallon range. After that, it breaks apart into the 1,251 to 1,500 gallon and the 250 to 500 gallon for the county. We conduct this bid for several satellite agencies, such as the airport, city facilities, such as the Riverport Authority and the transit system. They all have the option to pick their best avenue. The best avenue for fiscal court, based on our activity and our ranges, would be those 3.
How do you verify their markup?
Their per gallon markup. They give us tickets each month, and each time that they fill up, that shows from the point of actually taking the fuel, it shows what they pay at that point. We have a differential.
Okay.
I have a question. Each time we fill up, then that price would be adjusted at that time. Is that correct? Because it's not, you don't know about petroleum prices, so you can't just, it'd be the same price year long. Is it every time we fill up?
That is correct.
Then we may see an increase, decrease, et cetera. Is that right?
The price of gas is the price of gas. This bid is simply for the per gallon markup that stays static for the year.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Since we've had a motion and a second, let's go ahead and call for a vote on that one particular item. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. The rest of the items, I'm going to have Jenny read them in total, ask for a motion, then we'll discuss it, and I'll ask Jordan to explain each one, and you can comment if you have a comment. Is that okay, Claude? Yes, sir. Okay. Go ahead, Jenny.
11, 2017 plumbing and HVAC. 12, 2017 ready mix concrete. 14, 17 culvert pipe. 15, 17 equipment rental. 16, 17 crushed limestone. 17, 17 tire repair and maintenance, as well as the renewals. 13, 14 pavement striping. 16, 14 recycling services. 15, 16 janitorial services. 16, 16 county uniforms, as well as the City of Owensboro bid number 3060 bulk sodium chloride rock salt.
Move to approve.
I have a motion to approve. Do I hear a second? I have a second. Mr. Johnson.
Yes, Judge. Starting with 11/2017, the fiscal court received 2 bids for plumbing and HVAC services. Both bids meet expectations and have no exceptions to our bid documentation. The hourly rate is roughly 8% higher than last year. I recommend award to all participants to be used based on lowest price and availability.
And we have done that in the past, or typically when they bid, we can do that on services.
Yes.
Okay. Any question or comment regarding that bid? Next item.
12/2017, the fiscal court received 2 bids for ready-mix concrete. Yeager Materials of Owensboro, Kentucky is the lowest and best evaluated bid, having no exceptions to our documentation. Unit rates have risen approximately 4%, which is similar to prior year increases. I recommend award.
Questions, comments? Next item.
14/17, the fiscal court received 2 bids for culvert pipe. Hagen and Stone Wholesale Incorporated of Tompkinsville, Kentucky is the lowest and best evaluated bid, having no exceptions to our documentation. Unit rates range from a 10% increase to a 25% decrease from prior years. This is reflective of the steel market and similar to prior variants, and I recommend approval.
Question or comment? Next item.
1517, the fiscal court had 4 participants for equipment rental. All bids meet expectations and have no exceptions to our documentation. Hourly rates have little to no variance to prior years. I recommend award to all participants to be used based on lowest price and availability.
Question, comment? Next item.
1617, the fiscal court received 1 bid for crushed limestone. Yeager Materials of Owensboro, Kentucky is the only bid submitted, meeting all expectations and having no exceptions to our bid documentation. Unit rates have increased 2 to 3% from last year, which is similar to prior year increases. I recommend award.
Question, comment?
I actually have a question.
Yes, sir.
On number, let's see, which one? The equipment rental. If I can go back to that one.
Yes.
How come we don't have a bid for the vehicle or any of this equipment without a person? In other words, they only want to do it with an operator.
The last 2 iterations of this bid, all participants have chosen to go without an operator. In the next iteration of the bid, I plan to take that off. None of the companies are interested.
Say that again.
The last 2 times that we have bid this item, none of the participants have given a bid.
There was no bid on
operator.
equipment only.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and typically, that unless it's a small piece of equipment from a rental, directly from a rental corporation, they don't want to let big stuff out without supervised or trained operators, I would guess. So, I'm sorry.
They don't want somebody else running their.
Yes, that's correct. So they're okay with their own people running it, but not anybody else. Anything else, Commissioner? Okay, renewals.
I have one more.
I'm sorry. Tire repair and maintenance.
Yes, 1717, the fiscal court received 2 bids. Best One Tire of Owensboro, Kentucky is the lowest and best evaluated bid based on our past frequency of usage of each service and or replacement, and they had no exceptions to our bid documentation. The total cost is estimated to be 2% less than last year. I recommend award.
Questions, comments? Next item, renewals.
The following bids will be renewed in accordance with all terms, conditions, and pricing specified in their respective bid contracts. 2014 pavement striping to Reynolds Sealing and Striping at a bid rate of 18 cents per linear foot. 2014 recycling services to Dahl and Grotsinger Incorporated at a bid rate of $62 per gross ton for ferrous metals and other scheduled rates. 2016 janitorial services to Epic Systems at a bid rate of $9,726.83 per month for all county facilities. 1616 county uniforms to Siegel Uniforms for the schedule of rates on file. And the City of Owensboro bid 3060, they have renewed. This is an acceptance of their bid. There is no change in the price from last year.
Question, comment? Any question or comment by the public? There being none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Jenny, on the next one, let's read them all. We'll go through the same process for bids.
Advertise the following bids: 2017 wood grinding, 2117 spray park equipment, 2217 a new hydraulic folding rotary cutter, 2317 a new 4-wheel drive 150 horsepower tractor, 2417 mobile home surplus sale, and 2017 metal storage building surplus sale.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
I have a motion and second. Commissioners, this is just permission to advertise these bids, but if you have any specific questions regarding any one of the items, Mr. Jordan or Mr. Johnson's prepared to answer those questions.
Mm-hmm. I'd just like to see that one change, Judge, on pole barn, because it'd be a little misleading.
He'll do that in the
that's all.
advertisement.
Just don't want to get in a conflict there.
The things that we're advertising for, spray park equipment, rotary cutter, 150 horsepower tractor, those are all in our upcoming budget, correct?
That is correct.
Okay. Any question or comment? Question or comment by the public? There being none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carries.
P, retirement resignation of Dean Newcomb as building supervisor in the Department of Building and Grounds Maintenance effective 7/31/2017.
Move to approve.
Approve.
I have a motion and a second. Commissioners, Dean has been here as long as I have been. He's done a great job. I just wish him all the best in his retirement. Mark, do you have anything to say about Dean that you can say on the air?
Oh.
Okay.
No, he's been a great asset to the county, to our department. He will be greatly missed. He's got a lot of institutional knowledge that will not be very easily replaced.
Okay. Now, we've already hired his replacement. Is his replacement working with him to get a hang of things? Yeah.
Yes, that's been a great asset to pick up whatever he can. So I think we still have about a month to get everything we can out of him.
Commissioners, any comment, question? There being none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
Q, promote Robert Root to landfill site supervisor effective 7/2/2017.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Mr. Smith, explain it to us.
Yes, the landfill used to have a site supervisor, and the person who was in that position passed away quite a few years ago, and the job went unfilled. Here recently, with all of the activity going on at the landfill between the construction, land farming, methane gas wells, water pumps, the department head, Robbie Hocker, felt it would be good to bring that position back. At the earlier we approved it in our salary schedule to have a site supervisor, and so in discussion with him, he felt that the person who currently was handling most of those issues would be the best person to put in that position.
It's my understanding Bob was already doing.
He was already doing
the majority of those
things. That's
so
correct.
It was just natural to place him in that job title or job description.
That's correct. And I also want to note that it will only be a title change. He will still be doing the work that he has been doing. It now just gives him some supervisory authority. Okay. In addition, we won't be hiring anyone to take his place as an equipment operator because he'll still be operating equipment.
Personnel is just a title change.
Correct.
Let me be the first to congratulate Mr. Root on that promotion. Commissioners, any question or comment?
I think it's a good move. I think it's what needed to happen. So,
anything else? There being none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carries.
R, hire Austin Payne as a temporary engineering intern effective June 8th, 2017.
Motion approved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Mark, I'm going to ask you to comment, but you know I've been contemplating this all day, and for the life of me, I can't figure out why a young man would want to intern as an engineer. Go ahead.
Can't argue with you. Austin came in and did similar work for us over the winter break. Okay. He is working with our GIS to update our layers, do some pretty important work that is required of us by the Division of Water and new regulations. So it's a much needed effort that he provides.
He started 8th of June or?
Yes, I believe that's right.
And will work until school begins again?
As long as we can, yes.
Okay. Any question or comment? There being none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carries.
3, consideration for appointment A, George Altman to the Daviess County Drainage Commission, term 6/2/17 to 6/2/2021.
Motion approved.
Second.
I have a motion and second. Commissioners, Mr. Altman will be replacing Charlie Craig, who served 2 terms. Charlie did a really good job for us while he was on that commission. I'm sure that Mr. Altman will do the same. Any question or comment? What district does Mr. Altman?
East.
East. He's the East District rep. Okay. Any other question or comment? There being none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carries.
B, appoint Wally Taylor to the Daviess County Drainage Commission, 6/2/17 to 6/2/2021.
Move to approve.
Second.
I have a motion and second. Commissioners, again, Mr. Taylor is taking Gene Biddle's place. Gene did an excellent job, was always ready with comment and an opinion as to drainage in that Panther Creek Basin. Mr. Taylor has a fairly substantial farming operation in that same basin. He is from the Central District and will do a good job going forward, I'm sure. Any question or comment?
I just want to thank Gene for his service to the community and his work on this. And as you said, he certainly has been eager. He was eager to be a part of this, and he was very enthusiastic and appreciate his energies he put forward towards it.
Any other question or comment?
I just want to comment on both on Gene and Charlie. They both were willing to work and work hard. There were times on this commission when we had a lot of work in front of us and did a lot of work, and they were always there willing to help. And as Commissioner Castleton said, they wanted to serve and were very willing to do the work. So thank them both for their service.
Okay. If there's no other question or comment, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
D. Phil Riney to the Daviess County Economic Development Advisory Board.
Motion approved.
Term 6/19/17 to 6/19/2021.
Motion approved.
Second.
I have a motion second. Commissioners, Mr. Riney is taking Pat Casson's place. Mr. Casson was one of the brightest minds I've seen in economic development and really did a great job on that advisory board. Mr. Riney, I know him, and he is a developer here in Daviess County, and I'm sure will be just as good as Mr. Cason. Any question or comment? There being none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
D. Christina O'Brien to the Daviess County Economic Development Advisory Board, term 6/19/17 to 6/19/2021.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
I have a motion and second. Commissioners, Ms. O'Brien has served on the Economic Development Advisory Board and has done a really, really great job, very knowledgeable. And the thing I like about Christina, George, is she's pretty outspoken. She doesn't hold anything back. So I appreciate her being willing to serve another term. Any question or comment?
I would just say, you know, you and I have talked about folks serving a long time on boards, but Christina has done an excellent job, and I would support her doing a third term.
That she was a central appointee.
Yes.
Mr. Riney, I think, is the East appointee.
Yes, sir.
Any other question or comment? There being none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
E. Taylor DeVoe to the Convention and Visitors Bureau, term 6/30/2017 to 6/30/2020.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
I have a motion second. Commissioners, Mrs. DeVoe or Miss DeVoe replaces Jane Noble, who served 3 terms on the board. And since we've been here, it's unusual to see folks serve many more than 2 terms because we try to rotate those boards, but Ms. Noble did such an outstanding job that we gave her an additional term. Commissioner Wathen, can you tell us anything about Ms. DeVoe?
Well, she is a CPA, and she performs audits for Ronnie Hancock.
Yep.
And we're looking forward to seeing her on the board. I also want to comment that I served with Jane on that board, Jane Noble, and she did an outstanding job. She was always very active and participated heavily in that board. So they'll miss her.
Just as a side note, we are, by the Kentucky Revised Statute, we have statutory appointments. This appointment is a at-large appointment to represent the business community. And I think Commissioner Wathen made a good recommendation with Ms. DeVoe. Any other question or comment? There being none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
F. Darshana Patel to the Convention and Visitors Bureau, term 6/30/17 to 6/30/2020.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
I have a motion second. Commissioners, again, KRS says that we will have, I think, 3 folks from the hotel industry. And Ms. Patel has served 1 term, has done a good job, and that's why we're recommending her to go again. As an aside, I think somebody told me she broke her leg.
I think yes, she did for sure, and I believe it happened on Monday.
So
she's
get
probably
well
still
soon.
in a lot of pain.
Right, get well soon. Any other question or comment? There being none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
G, Commissioner Charlie Castlin to the St. Benedict's Board, term 6/24/17 to 6/24/2020.
And I assume Commissioner Castlin won't be voting, so I'll look down here for the
Motion
motion.
approved.
Second.
I second
I
it.
have a motion second. All I can tell you is Commissioner Castle's done a great job serving on St. Benedict's Board. He's very faithful. He attends those meetings on a regular basis, and Commissioner, thank you for doing that.
Glad to.
Any other question or comment?
Our comment is very dedicated gentleman, and I'm glad to see you on that board.
There being no other comment, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
4, consideration for discussion, A, other business to be brought before the Davis County Fiscal Court. I know of 0.
Well, we almost had one, but you and I beat them off with a stick, so
We
they
did.
wouldn't bring it in, so.
And technically, the one we had last week was not one because there was 0 vote on that
Yeah,
item.
well,
so
we knew that.
we're still on a record.
Yeah, we're on a roll. That's her way of whooping me a little bit. or even
Will that be
bringing
in
it.
the minutes that
Yeah.
you? that
Yes,
you-
yes, yes.
Next item.
Public comments.
This is a time during our meeting in which we ask the public to come forward to the podium, identify themselves, and you're welcome to speak on any issue or any item other than what was on the agenda. We have no takers. Next item.
Comments by Davis Fiscal Court.
Well, before I forget it, let me remind you that Davis County Fiscal Court will meet on June 29, 2017 at 10 a.m. to approve the year-end budget transfers. Shouldn't take very long. Those are the last few changes that we would have to get the budget kind of in line. Now, I'm believing that if we should have an item that needs to go before the court, such as a hiring or a resignation acceptance, we can probably include that in there as long as it's on the agenda. As long as it's on the agenda. So, and there might be an item or two, but I can tell you that that meeting will not be more than 5-10 minutes at most. So, come as you are, wear your work clothes and boots and all those other things. Let me also talk about ROMP. ROMP is in progress, running. Well, I don't know how they're running. They may be floating now, but a lot of people out there, Commissioner. We went out, Commissioner Wathen and I were out there today. I had Suzanne Miles and Commissioner Ryan Quarles, the Ag Commissioner, out there yesterday. Very interested, wasn't aware of the things that went on. We have the Bar Association, and that's the lawyers, not the bartenders association. Although I suspect that there's a lot of that elbow bending anyway. They're in town at the convention center, so we got ROMP, Bar Association. We have balloons over the botanical gardens this weekend. I would encourage everybody to come out. It's going to be a great day Saturday. I think the rain will. Well, I started to say the rain might. Andy says the rain will be gone, but he also said we were going to have a half inch of rain over a 4 or 6 hour period, and I think you missed that. I think you missed that one. We met, Commissioner Wathen and I met today with the state treasurer, Allison Ball. She's in town at the Bar Association as well. And Commissioner, are you going to talk about unclaimed property, or do you want me to talk about it?
Go ahead.
She is touting a program where there is unclaimed property as well as cash. I think the county, Mr. Hendricks, we received a list of some unclaimed property, but she told us that there was $3.1 million belonging to Davis Countyans on that list. So there is a website that you can go to take a look at that. Davis County Fiscal Court's Facebook page now has a recent post that provides a link to that location. So if Austin puts it in the newspaper or you see this meeting, go to our website. You can find the link, go on there and look and see if you got lost thousands of dollars. That's all I have. Commissioner Castlin.
First of all, I want to say congratulations to the Daviess County archery team. It says that the Messenger Inquirer on Wednesday, that's yesterday, said they won their second straight national title. That's quite an accomplishment. And in the picture here, Jenny's made a point of saying that her husband has identified himself with his hand. He's the only one with his hand up there. So
can you pick her daughter out of that picture?
Her daughter? No. Which one's your daughter, Jenny?
It had just stopped raining. She is in the car.
She's in the car. I thought you were going to say she was a photographer. Okay.
No, it rained hard on us.
Oh, okay.
The other thing that I just want to mention is not sure what day it happened, but we had an ATV accident out in the Central Division, and a young lady was life flighted from the Utica area, and I just want to remind people that you're not supposed to. Jenny's giving me a note here. There was no helmet being worn and no body strap to hold them on. And I think the TV report, said the thing flipped 5 times.
I think there were 3 of them riding abreast, 3 ATVs riding abreast down the highway.
Yeah, and they're not supposed to be on the road anyway. So just, and I guess to the parents, I would say that these. I have a sister who used to work in Lexington in the Cardinal Hill, the brain injury unit, and if she was here, she could give a pretty good sermon about how these aren't toys. They're a piece of equipment that people need to be trained on, and that people need to respect them, and what the damage they can create for people. And this is a very sad situation, and anyway, just a reminder to those who might think about going for a joyride on the road.
Anything else?
No, sir.
Commissioner Wathen.
Well, one of my favorite sports is softball, so I want to make sure that I mention Owensboro Catholic this year came in 4th in the state, and want to congratulate them for that. But also want to just mention George Randolph. He coached 3 of my daughters on the Owensboro Catholic softball team. He was always a great coach, a great mentor for the kids, and he did a good job, and he was always there for the kids, most importantly. I think he's also in the Kentucky Hall of Fame, so I just want to congratulate him. He has now decided to, after over 20 years, to retire. So congratulations to George Randolph on a great career, and he goes out number 4 in the state. So,
well, we knew that the Catholic High girls were good, but I don't think they expected them to do as well as they did they?
No, I think it was a surprise for them that they did so well. They had a lot of heart. That's why they did so well. So.
Anything else?
Nope.
Commissioner Koger.
I'm tickled that Fields Road is now open, because the complaint list has really shrank a whole lot. So thanks, Mark, staying on top of it. I've called him quite a bit, and other than that, hope everybody has a nice weekend.
That's a really great bridge. We ought to invite everybody in the county to go out there. That way we'd have more than 3 vehicles on that road in any one day. Anything else? If there's no other business to be brought before Daviess County Fiscal Court, without exception, we're adjourned.